CIET NCERT presents the audiobook Curiosity, Textbook of Science for Class 6.
Chapter 9 Methods of Separation in Everyday Life. Page 163. Just like winnowing makes the husk blow away while retaining the grains, similarly, sages let the virtues stay while discarding the vices. Kabir. Mali and his sister Wali are excited for their summer vacation. Their parents have planned a trip to visit their relatives and friends across India. They always stay in touch with their relatives and friends. Do you also keep in touch with your loved ones? Their first halt is at their Nani's maternal grandmother's house in Haryana. It is surrounded by large fields. Mali and Wali are fascinated by the variety of grains piled up in the courtyard. Their Mami, maternal aunt, and Mama, maternal uncle, along with the community members, are busy separating small stones and husks from the grains with their hands. At the bottom of the page is an image of a family separating stones and husks from their grains with their hands. Mali and Wali are curious to know why this is being done. Their Nani notices their curiosity and explains, "We are removing these stones so that the grains are fit for cooking." Page 164. They go around the house to see the fields and the cattle. To keep them busy, Nani gives them a challenge of hand-picking some small stones from grains while keeping their eyes closed. The method of picking by hand from a mixture when two or more substances are mixed, such as small stones and husk from wheat and rice, is called hand-picking. It is done on the basis of difference in size, color, and shape of the particle. If the particles to be removed are present in small quantities and can easily be picked by hand, hand-picking. If the particles to be removed are present in small quantities and can easily be picked by hand, hand-picking proves to be a convenient method. At lunch, Mali and Wali are served steaming hot vegetable pulao. While eating the pulao, Nani observes that Mali is separating whole black peppers from the pulao and is placing them on his plate. Wali playfully teases, "Wow, this is a hand-picking method. Nice one." On the left side of the page is an image of Wali hand-picking and separating whole black peppers from pulao. Nani tells them about the benefits of black pepper and encourages Mali to eat it. Later in the day, their mama takes them to the fields where they observe bundles of harvested wheat stalks lying in the fields. Some stalks are spread in the sun for drying. Both of them pick up a stalk each and notice numerous grains attached to it. A group of farmers are beating the stalks on a large wooden log. Curiously, Wali asks Mama, "Why are they doing this?" Mama explains, "They are beating the stalks to separate the grains." This process of separating grains from the stalks is known as threshing. On the left side of the page is an image of ladies threshing wheat. Farmers work hard, yet they enjoy their work. From time to time, they sing folk songs while working. At the bottom of the page is a box. Have fun while you learn. Explore folk songs of your region and try to sing along with your friends. Page 165. On the right side of the page is a question box. A small amount of puffed rice is mixed with chana dal. Can you think of separating the mixture by any method other than hand-picking? The separated grains get mixed with piles of husk. Wali whispers to Mali, "Will the farmers hand-pick the grains to remove them from so much husk?" She wonders, how much time will the farmers take to separate these? Let us perform an activity to find out the answer to the questions raised by Wali. Activity 9.1. Let us explore. 1. Take a handful of roasted peanuts and rub them between your palms. What happens? 2. Is it possible to separate the removed skin and peanuts? 3. Now try blowing it. What do you observe? Which of these components, removed peanut skins or peanuts, are blown away? You observe that blowing air separates the heavier and lighter components. How do you think farmers separate so many grains from husk? Traditionally, a soup bamboo tray is used for separating heavier and lighter components of a mixture. On the right side of the page is an image of the bamboo tray. The next day, their Nana takes them to the fields to show them this process at work. Mali and Wali observe a farmer standing on a raised platform. The farmer is moving the bamboo tray, which contains thrashed wheat grains, in the direction of the wind. What do you infer? Do both the components of the wheat grains and husk fall at the same time? Which of the two components gets blown away? Can the wind separate the two components? Page 166. On the top of the page is the image of a farmer winnowing and separating husk from the grains. The image shows how winnowing is generally done in the direction of the wind. On the left of the page is a question box. Wali is unable to separate husk from rice in a closed room. How can you help her? This method of separating heavier and lighter components of a mixture by wind or by blowing air is called winnowing. Have you seen any similar kind of activity being done at your home? On the center of the page is a box titled More to Know. Technological developments have resulted in developing of threshing machines called threshers. These machines are used for separating grains from the stalks and husk. They perform both these tasks of threshing and winnowing simultaneously. Next day, Wali and Mali board a train to Ahmedabad to visit their grandfather's friend Ghanshyam Bhai. Before leaving, Wali requests her mami to prepare meethi puri, sweet Indian bread made from wheat flour, for their journey. Wali: shall I help you knead the wheat flour? Mami: to prepare a dish with flour, first we need to remove barn that may be present in the flour. Wali: how do we do it? Page 167. On the top of the page is an image of a lady using a sieve. Mami: we use a sieve for this purpose. Sieving allows the fine flour particles to pass through the holes of the sieve. The bigger particles, such as bran and small stones, remain on the sieve. Carefully observe a sieve. Are all the holes of the sieve the same size? Will sieving work if the holes of the sieve are larger than the substances? Is there any difference in the size between the particles that pass through the sieve and the particles that remain on the sieve? Sieving is used when components of a solid-solid mixture have different sizes. Upon reaching Ahmedabad, they visit Sabarmati Ashram along with Ghanshyam Bhai, where they learn about Namak Satyagraha, Dandi March. On the right side of the page is a question box. Have you ever observed sieves being used at construction sites too, to separate pebbles and stones from sand? On the center of the page is a box that says, More to do. What is Sabarmati Ashram famous for? Draw a poster showing Dandi March and discuss why it was organized. Mali asks, where is namak, common salt, obtained from? From seawater, replies Ghanshyam Bhai. Seawater is a mixture of salts and some other substances dissolved in water. To obtain salt, the seawater is kept in shallow pits and exposed to sunlight and air. In a few days, the water evaporates completely, leaving behind the solid mixture. At the bottom is an image of a person obtaining salt from seawater. Page 168. Common salt is then obtained from this mixture by further purification. At the top of the page is a box that says, More to do. Find out about some water bodies in India that contain common salt. One such source is Sambhar Lake in Rajasthan. Let us explore how salt can be separated from a salt solution. On the left of the page is a question box. Have you ever observed white patches on the dark colored clothes you wear during hot summers? How are these patches formed? Activity 9.2. Let us observe and create. 1. Take a bowl or any container and fill it half with water. 2. Add 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt into it and stir till the salt dissolves to form a solution. 3. Take a small piece of black or dark colored thick paper and spread a few drops of the salt solution on it. 4. You can also create any art of your choice with this salt solution. 5. Allow it to dry and then observe it. At the bottom of the page, there are 3 images where a few drops of salt solution was spread on thick black paper. The first image is before drying, the second image is after drying, and the third image is an example of an art created using salt solution. Do you observe some patches on the paper? What do you think is left on the paper? Can you feel the presence of salt by touching the paper? Where has the water disappeared? Recall a chapter on a journey through states of water. Let us probe further to get answers. Page 169. At the top of the page is a box that says, "Do you know?" In the traditional Indian system of holistic health and medicine called Ayurveda, the herbs or parts of plants are prescribed as remedies. These ingredients, like roots, leaves, flowers, or seeds of various medicinal plants, are often dried in the shade. This practice facilitates the evaporation of excess water, leaving behind the important part of the medicine. Activity 9.3. Let us investigate. This activity may be demonstrated by the teacher. 1. Take some salt solution in a china dish. If a china dish is not available, another suitable vessel may be used. 2. Heat and let the water boil away. On the right side of the page is the image of an apparatus showing the heating of a china dish containing salt solution. Allow the china dish to cool. 4. What do you observe? What is left in the china dish? 3. Did you get the salt back? Can you feel the presence of salt in the china dish by touching the salt with your fingers? On the left of the page is a boy asking a question. Is there any method through which I can get back both salt and water? On the right side of the page is a question box. Observe the figure. Does it answer the question? Can you name the process involved? It is now time for them to visit Dada and Dadi, paternal grandparents residing in Puducherry, located in southern India. Mali and Vali are excited to meet their old neighborhood friend, Balan. After reaching Puducherry, they start talking about the old times and do not realize that it is already evening. Dadi's tea time. Page 170. On the left of the page is an image of decantation of tea, filtering of tea from the tea leaves. Dada: I shall prepare tea for you. Children: we will also help you. As Dada makes the tea, he shares tips on how to make a cup of tea. Balan: after preparing tea, how do you remove the tea leaves? Dada: obviously, with a strainer. You know, if we do not have a strainer, we can still remove most of the leaves. Vali: how? Dada: leave the saucepan, vessel containing the tea undisturbed for some time and gently pour the tea in a cup. Vali: oh yes, then the tea leaves will be settled at the bottom. The process of settling down of heavier, insoluble component at the bottom of a liquid is called sedimentation. When the water liquid is removed by tilting the vessel, the process is called decantation. On the left of the page is the image of a boy thinking about decantation. He says, oh, decantation is also used in washing and cleaning of rice and pulses. On the center of the page is a box that says, in the chapter, Materials Around Us, you have studied that oil does not mix with water and forms a separate layer while left undisturbed for some time. Which method of separation would you use to separate the oil and water? Dada, but I can still get a few tea leaves in my mouth because decantation does not completely separate all the tea leaves from the tea. Balan, oh, it means that it is not a proper method of separation. Dada, yes, you are right. The tea is ready now. Mali picks up the tea strainer from the shelf and gives it to his Dada. Dada, let me pour the tea through the strainer. You can see all the tea leaves collected in the strainer. This process of separating tea leaves from tea is called filtration. Balan asks Mali if he could use a tea strainer to filter muddy water. Let us try and find out. Dada, also try to filter the muddy water through a piece of cloth and observe the difference. Page 171. Mali, why should we use a piece of cloth? Dada, in a small piece of cloth, there are very small holes or pores between the woven threads. These pores in the cloth can be used as a filter. People of ancient times also followed this practice. But if the water is still muddy, impurities can be separated using with an even smaller hole or pores. A filter paper is one such filter that has very fine pores in it. On the top right of the page is an image of a girl thinking, how many layers of cloth do I need to use to get clear water? Activity 9.4. Let us experiment. 1. Try to fold the filter paper yourself and make a cone. On the center of the page is an image of the filter paper being folded to form a cone. 2. Place it inside a funnel on a conical flask and pour muddy water into it. On the bottom of the page is the image showing a filter paper placed inside a funnel. In the second image, filtration of muddy water using a filter paper, tripod stand, and conical flask is shown. 3. What do you observe? Do the mud particles pass through the filter paper? 4. The water coming from the funnel will be collected in the conical flask. Page 172. 5. You will get mud as a residue on the filter paper and clear water as a filtrate in the conical flask. On the top of the page is a box that says more to know. Other than the filter paper, many materials such as cotton, charcoal, and sand can be used as filters. The choice of filters depends on the size of the particles of the materials to be removed. Activity 9.5. Let us design and create. Vali goes for a walk with her dadi and collects some water from a pond in a container. She observes some unwanted substance in it. Design and create a working model of water filtering using low-cost materials. On the center of the page is a box that says, do you know, tea bags were initially made of soft cloth like silk because it could hold the tea leaves and let water pass through. Silk was strong and did not fall apart when it touched hot water. Later, people started using gauze or muslin. Eventually, they started using filter paper, which is what most tea bags are made of today. Mali and Vali go on a boat ride in a nearby river with their dada and his friend Otakam. Otakam is a fisherman. As they cast the fishing net, water drains out through the mesh. Vali recalls the filtration method she had learned and realizes that this method of catching the fish is somewhat similar. Mali is taken aback when he saw plastic bags, broken bottles, a large fish with a straw stuck in its mouth, and food wrappers along with the other fish trapped in the net. At the bottom of the page is an image of a fisherman fishing with Wali and Mali. Page 173. Let us raise awareness about the issues of river and ocean pollution by composing a poem. A few lines have been written here. Add more lines. Piece of plastic in my neck. As in pain, I cry. Koilas, koilas, where are you, dear? Papa fish cries, Mama fish has tears. Why don't you fill the next lines in the space given? Aware of the harm, they let it flow. Koilas faintly hears mother's sorrow. Why don't you fill the next lines in the space given? Stop plastic pollution at source. Rivers are a huge resource. Why don't you finish the poem in the space provided? On the middle of the page is a box that says, Discuss with your parents. A bowl of milk in your home has gone sour. Discuss with your parents how you can use it in another way. Also, which method of separation will you use in the process? Mali and Vali take blessings from their Dada and Dadi, bid goodbye to Balan, and travel to Madhya Pradesh. The train reaches Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. The sun is rising and it is getting hot. On their way to Masi, maternal aunt's home, they drink chach, buttermilk, in the dhaba, roadside eatery. Mali asks the shopkeeper about the big painting hanging on the wall of the dhaba. The shopkeeper explains the picture showing a lady performing the process of churning curd using a big mathani churner to separate butter. At the bottom of the page is the image of the lady churning curd. Page 174. In this process, the butter being lighter floats on the top, while the buttermilk is left behind. At the top of the page is a boy asking a question. Can you name one kitchen appliance which runs on electricity that is used to prepare buttermilk? This stay at Masi's place has become enjoyable and they are looking forward to share all their memories with their friends upon returning home. Now it's time for them to reach their final destination of the trip, Shillong, the capital of Meghalaya. On their arrival at their Bua's paternal aunt's house in Shillong, they notice a carpenter making a wooden door. While working, he accidentally drops a few iron nails in the sawdust. The carpenter starts handpicking the iron nails. The children tell the carpenter to wait. They get a magnet from their bua. They ask the carpenter to move the magnet through the sawdust. All the nails get attracted to it. At the bottom of the page is an image where a carpenter is separating nails from sawdust using a magnet. Which method of separation did the carpenter use? Recall the chapter on exploring magnets. The substances which are attracted towards a magnet are called magnetic substances. Iron is a common example of a magnetic substance. Page 175. Separation of magnetic and non-magnetic substances by using a magnet is called magnetic separation. On the middle of the page is a box that says, More to know. Nowadays, recyclers use magnets to separate iron articles from a heap of waste. In many industries, the waste materials often contains scrap iron. This is separated from the heap of waste materials using magnets fitted to a crane. Scrap iron can be recycled and reused. Mali and Vali had delightful holidays and the Bharat Ki Yatra tour of India filled with fun will be an everlasting memory for them. They not only enjoyed exploring different regions of India but also gained a lot of knowledge about various methods of separation of substance. Activity 9.6. Let us play. Write the following phrases on small slips of paper. 1. Separating small stones from pulses. 2. Churning curd to obtain butter. 3. Taking out green chilies from cooked dalia, dish made of cracked wheat, or poha, dish made of flattened rice. 4. Taking out seeds from watermelon. 5. Sorting piles of sawdust and iron nails from a mixed heap of building material. 6th. Picking marigold flowers from a heap of other flowers to make a garland. 7. Separating pebbles from sand. 8. Separating coconut pieces from rice flour. 9. Separating oil from water. 10. Separating salt from salt solution. Page 176. Now take two baskets, each representing one from the two purposes for which we separate substance. Form two teams and see who will get the maximum correct entries. At the center of the page is an image of two baskets representing the purpose for which we separate substances. The first purpose is to remove any one of the components that is not useful. The second basket is to separate two different but useful components. This activity helps in assessing your understanding as to why we separate substances. Keywords from this chapter: churning, decantation, evaporation, filtration, handpicking, magnetic separation, mixture, sedimentation, sieving, threshing, winnowing. Create, design, experiment, explore, infer, investigate, observe. Page 177. Summary and key points. 1. Handpicking is used for separating solid materials on the basis of difference in size, color, and shape from the mixture. 2. The process in which the stalks are beaten to separate grains from them is called threshing. 3. The method of separating lighter husk from heavier grains by wind or by blowing air is called winnowing. 4. The process of separating solids from a mixture based on variation in particle size using a sieve is called sieving. 5. Evaporation is the process by which liquid gets converted into its vapors. It can be used to separate a solid dissolved in a liquid. 6. The process of settling down of heavier insoluble component at the bottom of a liquid is called sedimentation. When the liquid is removed by tilting the vessel, the process is called decantation. 7. Filtration can be used to separate insoluble solid components from a liquid. 8. Churning is used to extract butter from curd. 9. Separation of magnetic and non-magnetic substances by using a magnet is called magnetic separation. Play a game. Wise fish. Prepare your own fishing rod with locally available eco-friendly materials. Tie to a thread one end of the rod and a magnet to the free end of the thread. The tank 1 has red cardboard fish and tank 2 has blue cardboard slips attached to iron clips. Fish out a red fish representing a method of separation first, and then fish out one blue slip related to the red one. Watch out for your friends. Are they fishing correctly? Page 178. At the top of the page is the image of tank 1 having the red fish. The words written on the red fish are filtration, decantation, condensation, handpicking, churning, evaporation, winnowing, sedimentation, sieving, threshing, magnetic separation. In tank 2, on the blue slips with iron clips are written difference in magnetic properties, difference in size of solid particles, heavier particles settle down, mixture of oil and water, extract butter from curd, separate salt from seawater, beating stalks to remove grains, conversion of liquid vapor into its solid state. Insoluble particles get filtered as residue, larger particles are handpicked, lighter components of mixture is separated by blowing air. Let us enhance our learning. Question 1. What purpose does handpicking serve in the process of separation? Option 1. Filtration. Option 2. Sorting. Option 3. Evaporation. Option 4. Decantation. Question 2. Which of the following substances are commonly separated using the churning method? Option 1. Oil from water. Option 2. Sand from water. Option 3. Cream from milk. Option 4. Oxygen from air. Page 179. Question 3. Which factor is usually essential for the filtration? Option 1. Apparatus size. Option 2. presence of air. Option 3, pore size. Option 4, temperature of the mixture. Question 4, state with reason whether the following statements are true or false. Also, correct the false statements. 1. Salt can be separated from salt solution by keeping it under the sun. 2. Hand picking should be used only when the quantity of one component is less. 3. A mixture of puffed rice and rice grains can be separated by threshing. 4. A mixture of mustard oil and lemon water can be separated by decantation. 5. Sieving is used to separate a mixture of rice flour and water. Question 5. Match the mixtures in column 1 with their method of separation in column 2. Column 1 mixtures include gram flour mixed with black gram, chalk powder mixed with water, corn mixed with potatoes, iron powder mixed with sawdust, oil mixed with water. Column 2 options are hand picking, magnetic separation, decantation, sieving, and filtration. Question 6. In what situations would you use decantation instead of filtration to separate solids from liquids? Question 7. Can you relate the presence of nasal hair to any separation process? Question 8. During the COVID-19 pandemic, all of us wore masks. Generally, what material are they made up of? What is the role of those masks? Page 180. Question 9. A mixture containing potatoes, salt, and sawdust has been given to you. Outline a stepwise process for separating each component from this mixture. Question 10. Read the following story titled Intelligent Leela and tick the most appropriate options. Provide a suitable title of your choice to this paragraph. Leela was working in the farm with her father when she realized that they left their drinking water at home. Before her father felt thirsty or hungry, she went to the nearby pond to fetch some water or grains. After obtaining some water in the container, she noticed that the water was muddy and fit or unfit for drinking. To purify the water, she kept it for some time and then she filtered or churned the muddy water using a piece of paper or muslin cloth. Leela then cooled or boiled the water for about 10 minutes in a covered pan. After cooling or boiling, she filtered or churned it again and made it fit or unfit for drinking. She served this water to her father while having food, who blessed her and appreciated her efforts. Learning further. 1. Fun with parents. We are proud of our Indian heritage. Under the supervision of your elders, try to prepare some herbal remedies using various parts of plants. For example, tulsi kadha. Which method of separation will you use while preparing herbal kadha? 2. Stage play. Imagine you and your friend are Mali and Vali. Write dialogues of a play presenting the entire Bharat Yatra, highlighting the different methods of separation of substances they observed. Enact the play in your school assembly. 3. Group activity. Observe and list separation methods you employed and noticed in your surroundings throughout the week. Explain the reasons behind using these methods and compile the ones you utilized or observed the most. Compare your observations with your group members. 4. Be a stalwart of your company. Interview a rag pickers and prepare a case study about the methods of separation he or she uses in her daily life. Encourage children of your community below the age of 14 to join a neighborhood school. Page 181. Be a reporter. 1. Gather newspaper clippings and articles related to various methods of separation implemented in your society, such as in agricultural fields or at construction sites. Conduct interviews with local farmers to explore the latest agricultural separation methods they use. 6. In the middle of the page is a box which says, "Think like a scientist." You are provided with a mixture of iron nails, sand, black pepper, stones, common salt, and water. Which steps would you follow to separate each component of a mixture? The given steps may help you think like a scientist. Reflection steps. I observe. Fill in the blank with what you observe. I wonder. Fill in the blank with what you wonder about the mixture. You might have wondered about questions such as, which component should I separate first? What method of separation should I use first? How can we separate these components effectively? Will some of the components be soluble in water? What properties of the components can help us in their separation? What is the most appropriate sequence? Activity steps. Some possible answers to the questions which occurred in my mind are: use the blank space to fill in the blank. I performed the following method of separation. Use the space provided to answer this question. My findings are: use the given space to answer the question. At the end of the box, a hint is given. A mixture that has more than two components requires a combination of several methods of separation. Chapter 9 ends here.
Curiosity. You were just listening to this audiobook, Textbook of Science for Class 6. Narration, Dr. Pranita Gopal. Technical coordination, Bati Langlingdo. Sound recordist, Virendra Rawat. Assistance in production, Muhammad Shamim Khan. Directed and produced by Vimlesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.